Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we're installing a 40-inch light bar on a Ford Bronco with a standard bumper. The only thing we have to do for the standard bumper install is remove this bottom trim piece below the grille. It is very easy. It unclips on the sides and it's just held up on clips. After that is just a quick bolt and putting everything back together. Follow me. So on the inside of the fender, there's a knob here. If you can see my finger, I'm going to go ahead and release this fender. By flipping it up, we are capable of separating the fender from the vehicle, and then that will unlock the bottom trim piece and we can pull it forward. I'm going to go ahead and release the other side as well. Please note that on the passenger side it's actually not up but down, so we're going to unhook it and unclip it. So now that we have this side unclipped, we can go ahead and pull this outward and start unclipping, and it just comes off. It's all held on clips. You just pull. Same thing here. Pull to the side, unclip it, and pull it forward. And look how easy it comes off already. So that's pretty much the hardest part of the installation. So now we're going to go ahead and install the M&R brackets. Here's the driver and the passenger side of the brackets. Take a look at the orientation and how they're going to be installed. I'm going to show you exactly which bolt we're going to be removing. It's this one here. It's a 10mm bolt head. I'm going to remove it, thread it through the M&R bracket, and reinstall it. I'm going to thread it through the eyelet of the bracket, and I'm going to reinstall it in the same position. I'm not going to tighten it all the way. I want to align it perfectly with the light bar installed before I tighten it, just so that we know the orientation, because there is some adjustments here. So I will thread the light bar in between the two brackets, and then I'll tie down that bolt. Okay, so we got it. We're going to thread it through the passenger side bracket and reinstall it in the same hole. Next thing I'm going to do is mock up the light bar. I am going to thread the bolts on, just so that way I can center it before I tie down the M&R brackets to the vehicle. So it doesn't have to be super tight. Of the brackets. And now we can go ahead and tighten these bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the light bar. So that way we can reinstall the bottom trim piece. Having the light bar, it's in the way because it comes in at an angle. And then we'll be able to reinstall the light bar in the same location. Now that the mounts are in, we're going to go ahead and re-click all the clips. There's a center pin here, so align it and just kind of work your way around the edges until you clip in the sides. There you go. Press on it so that everything's clipped in, and now we can permanently install the light bar. Alright, perfect. Now that the light bar is mounted, there is a millimeter or two of clearance between the light bar and the grille. It is very nice and tucked to the body of the vehicle, to the grille of the vehicle. So the last step for the installation is to remount the fender flares. We're going to go ahead and put them in and flip the latch into the position so that way they are attached to the vehicle. Let's do the same thing on the passenger side. Align it, flip the switch, and now we're all done. Now we can worry about the wiring. So M&R does have 3 different light bars that you can purchase for the bumper. We have the main white light function, we have the main amber light function, and the third one is main white light, but it also has amber DRL capability. For the dual function, 2-function light bars, there's 3 wires coming out from the harness. The red one is the positive for the white light, the black is the ground, and the blue wire is the positive for the DRL feature. So I'll show you exactly how I hook it up using 2 auxiliary switches. If you have a single function light bar, then you're not going to have this blue wire, you're just going to have the black and red. The red is the positive for the main light, and then the black is the ground. We're going to go ahead and feed the wire through the weather stripping with my hand from the back. I'm going to put the weather stripping down so that way I can fish the wiring inside. Now with somebody's assistance, I'm going to go ahead and feed the wire vertically into the engine bay. I'm going to feed it through the bottom, have somebody fish it out from the top next to the headlight. You could also attempt to do this yourself if you have skinny fingers. Sometimes needle nose pliers help as well. I'm going to go grab some needle nose pliers. I did grab some needle nose pliers. I could see the wire, but it's hard for me to put my fingers in there. So with a set of needle noses, it can be a one-man operation. So here we fed the wire through the fender well, and we have just enough to connect it to the auxiliary switches. So let's review what color switch does what on the vehicle. I know there's an owner's manual and there's a diagram, so we'll take a look. We're going to go to features. We're going to click on owner's manual, and we're going to search for AUX, which stands for aux switches. Identifying the aux switch wiring. So there's a diagram. So we're going to go ahead and put the white main function of the light bar on switch number 1, which is a yellow wire. And we want to put the amber DRL function on one of the least amped fuses. So we're going to use the yellow with the orange marker on it. So they're both going to be yellow wires. The main one's going to be yellow. The second one's going to be yellow with orange marker. And that's going to put auxiliary switch 1 for the main white light. And the amber DRL is going to be on switch number 6. Let's go ahead and get started. So looking at the driver's side next to the hood hinge, you can see there is a bundle of wires. From the diagram inside the vehicle, switch number 1 is the yellow wire, and switch number 6, it's the yellow wire with the orange marker. So these are the 2 wires that we're going to be using to wire the dual function light bar. So let's go ahead with the first one. If your light bar doesn't include the blue wire, then we're not going to worry about the switch number 6. We're just going to connect it to the yellow wire, or depending on the amperage that you're looking for. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to unclip the protective sheathing from the yellow wire. I'm going to strip it, and I'm going to put a crimp connector. I'm going to strip it, and I'm going to put a crimp connector on the yellow wire. I like to double crimp it because these wires are fairly thin. Okay, so I crimp the yellow wire, and I'm going to do the same thing for the yellow with an orange marker. I'm going to take the protective sheathing off. I'm going to strip it. Put a crimp connector on it, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. So now let's go ahead and crimp the light bar wiring onto it. So the red wire is the main function light, which in this case is white. And we're going to mount that to the solid yellow wire for switch number 1. The blue wire is the amber DRL function. That's going to be switch number 6, which is the yellow wire with the orange tracer. last wire we have is the black wire, and that's going to be the ground. We're going to go ahead and put an eyelet on it and crimp it. We're going to use any one of these bolts for the grounding spot. Let's go ahead and choose the one that's closer. So now that we've finished the wiring, let's go ahead and test it before we zip tie and make everything nice and pretty. So now let's go ahead and test it. Make sure that the ignition in the vehicle is on. Switch number 1, we dedicated it to be the main function of the light, which is white. And switch number 6 is the function of the amber DRL function, which is amber. Let's take a look how it looks. Oh, it looks awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an easy install.